have a shot. Challenge is reckless and will win.
I was always expecting us to beat Fnatic. I think we have better players.
Right now they're on and off, but they're a really strong team when they're on.
And Vitality beat Fnatic.
We managed to pull through and go for the win, and it was pretty easy.
I don't think there's like more pressure just because you played Wilt last year.
Power of Evil's trying to get away with the Rift Walk, and that's all he can do. It's not done yet. Forgiven shuts him down, and H2K go 2-0 in week 1.
I don't really feel pressure. If you just learn something from these games, it's okay.
I think it's going to be a pretty even match, but we're going to go and win.
And welcome to the European League Championship Series. We're coming to you live from the LCS studio in Berlin, Germany, where Europe's best are about to settle the score on Summoner's Rift. As you can see, everyone's piled into the studio, ready to go for day 2 here in Europe and seeing our game of the week, which is going to be first up, and it will be OG versus Vitality. There we see the guys of OG. Sven had a fantastic game yesterday versus the UOL, and there are the Giants interacting with some fans before the show as well. Vitality setting up, and the pillow with Kasing or the other way around. Will this be the new thing? Not Dyrus in his pillow, but Kasing in his pillow? I certainly hope so. Hello, I'm Evie Schog's-Porter. Glad to be back on the analyst desk for day 2, where I'm joined by James Stress O'Leary and Richard Pulse Cam. Very happy to have you guys with me. You guys look super snazzy.
Challenger takeover.
Challenger takeover here in the LCS, but it's LCS games today, and yesterday the teams returned to the stage after a week to improve on whatever they pulled off or didn't pull off in week 1. And at the top of the tables, G2, now G3-0 eSports. Fantastic start, continuing on their winning recipe from week 1 rather.
Really good start for G2. Makes us a little bit happy as Challenger casters to see the team coming up and doing well. They did have a fairly easy schedule though when you look at it. Even the owner, Ocelot, tweeted that yesterday, talking about how today is their really first big test. Obviously no disrespect to their opponents from any parties involved there, but G2 certainly now have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, we'll see if they continue that. And we look at other games from yesterday. That last one, Fnatic versus H2K. Very exciting, and it's still the question. It was a very high tactical game, but whose side did it come off the most? Was it H2K forcing that on Fnatic, the other way around?
Yeah, it was a slugfest because it was all of this build-up to those 3 major fights that happened in those games, but it was because both teams were matching each other on such a strong macro level that forced it into a game like that. And it was so interesting to see, and it's something that we'll have to go back and break down, and I'm sure the teams will have to do the same.
Yeah, definitely. On the bottom of the table, though, Splyce, Giants, they're not there yet. 0-3 so far. Do you think they'll find their footing in the next couple of weeks?
I think Giants seem maybe slightly more likely. Just from how we've seen Splyce trying things that are a little bit too far out of reach for them right now. That's a bit of a sad story for us out of Challenger. Would have liked to have seen Splyce do better, but still there's time for them to improve.
There is, and there's time to adapt to the meta as well. There are still a few highly contested picks as we continue the second week of pro play on patch 6.1. Yesterday, we touched on a lot of champions that were 100% pick ban until then, but you guys wanted to highlight some specific ones we saw yesterday.
Yeah, we wanted to look at some of the picks that we actually saw picked a lot rather than banned. The first one I want to highlight is Lissandra. There's the obvious things where she's flex, has wave clear. The other less obvious things are her role somewhat in team fights. You know, between Zhonya's Hourglass and her own ultimate, she soaks a lot of time from the enemies. If you can get that ult onto an enemy AD carry, you add all of that time together, and the potential is like a 7.5-second zone during a team fight. So a bit more of that hidden power that we've seen somewhat from Lissandra.
Yeah, sort of even acts as like a tank towards the end of team fights as well. But then you take a look at Corki as well, incredibly strong right now. Korea's been playing a lot of Corki. He's fantastic as like a long-range poker. He's got the wave clear, also a flex pick in the mid lane, an AD carry, and he's pretty much taken over Lucian as the #1 AD carry as well. So he's just exceptionally good right now.
That was quite interesting because we saw so much Lucian and he was not there at all.
Yeah, he wasn't at all. But you look at supports that went either with Corki or with some of the other poke champions. Trundle is one of those. Fairly high pick rate, not the highest win rate, but a lot of it, what Trundle is bringing bringing is the ability to not only shred tanks, but the pillar to slow people around turrets, then poke is super easy to land.
And then you have his big brother, the Alistair, in the bot lane as well as the support, the big cow brother. He's got the peel, he's got engage, he's got team fight, he's got dive potential. Crepo and Deficio are talking about how he's maybe the best support right now as well. And then also looking at the masteries, very interesting. Miffy decides to run wind speakers, which gives the entire team more armor and magic resist because he's the AoE heal, much like Sona, versus what we've seen being seen with other Alistairs going with like Bond of Stone, which is better for the laning phase and just being with your AD carry.
What about your pick for top lane, Alistair? We haven't
Rest in
seen
peace,
it.
I'm afraid.
It's not, yeah,
0%.
it's just better as support right now. Well, as the split continues to unfold, we want to get your input. Hop on Twitter and tell us which champion is your favorite pick so far in 2016 and why. As always, send your replies at LOL Esports and use that hashtag EU LCS for us to pick them up. I'm going to say Lux, always been a favorite of mine. Of course, that Star Guardian skin is amazing, but just a happy switch up.
I played so much Lux after preseason, only Star Guardian as well. I actually managed to get Champion Mastery 5, but I want to see people do the glass cannon Lux. Give me Dark Seal into Medjai's. It's not great, I'm going to be honest. You probably shouldn't do it too often, but it's super, super fun.
Well, for me, it would be the Alistair top, but unfortunately he's Dunzo right now in 6-1. However, Graves top is a thing. Also with Graves jungle, incredibly good right now. We saw Cabashard bring that one out. Haven't seen all that much from it yet, but he's fantastic into those tank matchups, and there's so much damage, it's just so fun to play.
We'll see what we see today. Week 2 continues in just a few minutes, starting with our game of the week between Vitality and Origen. And later on, we'll see Fnatic take on the Unicorns of Love. It's going to be G2 versus H2K to close out the day. A bunch of interesting matchups, but it's time to dial in on our game of the week, and that is Origen versus Vitality. Starting with Origen, a lot of criticism from our side and their own side, honestly, after their 0-2 start, but they wiped that totally off the table with their performance versus UOL.
Yes, small blip at the beginning with the first blood going over to the Unicorns, but after they got the read on Diamond procs, they finally locked him down, finally got him on the ward. OG took 2 back-to-back kind of reactive team fights, but OG getting in position for these fights very, very quickly was what gave them the ability to take him. And Origen finally managing to find a little bit of consistency, even Paraveval getting involved in this setup here. But, you know, I think a lot of this revolved around just how comfortable this setup was for Origen. And
that was the key. Unicorns of Love being on the back foot for most of that game, and it all led up to Sven making this huge play where Unicorns of Love had to make something proactive happen, and they put all their eggs in one basket. They had to jump on Sven, but he comes in with this insane sidestep, and all those resources go nowhere. There you can see it right there, absolutely insane, because he moves parallel to the taunt instead of moving backwards, so he can go back in once he makes the dodge. It was just flawless play from Sven.
Tilted them into Oblivion, possibly.
That's what it looked like.
Diamond had also commented after that for the side of UL, it might have been a little bit in picks and bans, but in any case, Origen read them perfectly and then snowballed the game. On the other side, Vitality, they had a slow start. They had a slow game, and Shook in the interview after also said, well, it's all about being having a plan in that early game and not being too intense, and they had a very late first blood, 20 minutes in, while the league-wide average is at 8:26, and that was something we might not have expected from the lineups and the types of players on that lineup coming into the year, but it seems to be their jam.
It is for the first couple of weeks. I wonder whether they'll start to mix that up somewhat as the weeks go on. I feel like in yesterday's game, they were being somewhat careful around not getting the TF on the opposite team snowballing other lanes too hard, so they were playing a little bit more passive. They knew that they could afford to wait with the composition they had. So if they're in no rush with their comp, that's very comfortable for Vitality. I do wonder, though, how that changes as we go forward.
Exactly. They were playing the reactive game because they didn't need to be proactive. And then we also saw Cabashard on that Graves top, which we hinted to earlier. It was great. He didn't die once, but we didn't really see much from it because all they needed to do was wait for the opponent to come to them. So hopefully he plays it again. We get to see it in more situations and in more matchups that isn't just into a tank.
He was sending a message for that matchup today versus...
Maybe he'll get banned out as well, draw a ban.
We'll see what happens. Shook, anyway, in the interview after, was also very confident. He said, well, super teams, they are made to be #1, so they're going to have to win.
A little bit of a communication error on Sean's in the interview with Quickshot was like, yeah, we're not a super team, don't worry. So I guess in Shook's mind, that's exactly where he wants to be. But the interesting comment he also made was about how he wants to play a slow jungle game, as we alluded to. Amazing on the other side, we spoke to him and he was like, you got to be loose, you got to be fast at the beginning of the game. So this could be the one that forces Vitality to speed up.
Yeah, and they just get the signal that the players are ready on stage. So we're going to hand it off in just a bit. And as we go, we'll hear a little bit more of what Amazing thinks of the 2016 jungle changes.
The jungle is definitely more fast-paced now. You obviously like get to play the game 15 seconds earlier, so that kind of influences a lot. So the jungle just is more about early game decision making and less about mid to late game vision control, which is beneficial for some, not beneficial for others, but definitely something that I look forward to. I am gonna be quite interested in seeing how I'm gonna perform on a patch where it's gonna be similar to Season 4, and it's gonna be a lot about the jungle being like impactful in the early game.
Hello, everybody. I'm Quickshot, joined here by Crepo and Deficio. We are just moments away from our game of the week between Vitality and Origen. I am very excited for this game.
We can hear.
And I've surprised Deficio. Let's get straight to it and take a look at the roster. On the blue side, it is Vitality, with Caboshot in the top lane, Shook in the jungle, Noobtak in the mid lane, Hyun in the AD carry, with Kissing the support, and Sean's the coach.
Yeah, Sean's saying there, we are not a super team. Shook apparently says, we are a super team. Disagreement already. They're going downhill. It's over. On the red side, however, we have Origen in the top lane, Soaz in the jungle, amazing. Mid lane, obviously, Power of Evil. AD carry Sven, support Miffy, and coach Hazel.
I believe it is Hazel's birthday today. We'll find out whether or not he can help his players get a birthday present.
Okay.
We saw Origen yesterday. Phenomenal performance. They dismantled UOL.
Outside of the start of the game, big mistake from Amazing and, of course, Soaz together. Don't do that today against Vitality, because they will punish you even harder than the Unicorns did yesterday.
Well, we'll have to find out. For Vitality, there was a question on the desk talking about some picks and bans. Kissing, not played Alistair just yet, despite some of the games being available. Just throwing it out there. And Caboshot, you know, Crepo, we were talking about Tom Kinch in this top lane. Cabo's not really a tank player kind of guy.
Yeah, but he does have the team right now that he can easily take a step backwards and leave the carry roles to the other individuals in his team. Maybe last year he felt the need to carry all the time. I don't think it's the same case this time around.
I think they might ban it away, just because, again, Caboshot normally does perform better on carries up in the top lane. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Vitality ban like Tom Kench, potentially Alessandra as well. Because first pick in that, I guess Caboshot can play it, but we just haven't seen it yet. I look at Caboshot, I look at a Fiora player, I look at maybe a Quinn player, Graves top. Obviously, they already banned away Quinn, which is a little bit of a new one coming in.
Yeah, well, the three champions Cabo has played: Fiora, Graves, Kennen. He's got a very good 5.2 KDA, only died once across the 3 games. Very strong performance, and there's that Tom Kench ban you were expecting. Lulu as well. Rise still up, Lissandra still up, Alistair still up, so there's some priority picks that could be first pick worthy.
Definitely a lot of them. We know Mythic can play Alistar. I know Kissing can play it as well. We saw it last year. It's just, do you want to first pick it? I'm also looking at like Kalista as an AD carry, because both AD carries played it yesterday. It was picked very early for both of them, and Vitality has to respect what Sven can do on this champion. Also banning Corki, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see first pick Kalista.
Yep.
Obviously depends if like Rise is open or Lissandra as potential other first picks.
I do like Lissandra into a Kalista potentially, but I think what Kalista offers for Origen is something we can't forget, that it just gives them more engaged angles outside from their bot lane. So they can throw Mithy in if he plays the likes of an Alistar or tanky support, an additional guaranteed engage. And Origen sometimes without that Kalista is lacking, and then that's in addition to Sven just being a fantastic Kalista player in terms of side hops, it's in terms of knowing his damage output.
So Origen is putting up a situation here for Vitality saying Rise is open. Do you want to first pick it? It hasn't been the strongest first pick in Europe in every game, because it's very easy to draft compositions with a lot of poke, a lot of fast push against him, and like punish his early game. I'm still looking at that Kalista. Jungle-wise, we have everything open. And Vitality seems to agree. Kalista is worth first picking.
And it has been locked in there on the side. So for Origen, is Rise something they want to take? We know Soaz can play it. We know Power of Evil can take it.
I don't think so.
If they don't, then what will be
because it's too scaling. That was the risk that Origen ran in week 1. Tunneling on scaling compositions. I would just lock in some early game. If they go Rise, they should make sure that they have at least pushing and winning lanes in the other two. That may be rough to guarantee this early in the draft.
I would go Alistar here if I'm Origen, because I don't want to give Kalista Alistar over to Vitality. I think that combination has been so good because, again, it offers some hard engage by throwing in the Alistar. It is a good lane as well. And I think just the utility these two guys together offers is just so good in this current meta. And obviously we love the Alistar as a support pick.
Yep.
Now that we see less and less Poppy coming in.
Currently 5-2 in the spring split with a few seconds left to go. We're actually going to see a Kindred and Elise Is this going to be
Niels
AD
plays,
carry
no,
or
it's
mid?
Niels.
AD
Sven,
carry?
yeah. He plays AD, plays AD carry Kindred. In late game, it's actually pretty sick damage if he gets you because of the wolf procs that are kind of, they are there, but you don't really take that into account very often when you play against AD carry Kindred. I've seen him late game with a full build, put somebody to 30% in literally one auto, 2 wolf hits, Thunder Lords, and yeah, so rough.
This might switch their priority on support pick for Vitality over to a Thresh. Run Ignite, and you have an all-in 2v2 lane, because Kindred is a very good sustain AD carry, but she can really get hurt, especially pre-level 6 in lane, because she obviously has to land their extra hits to get that lifesteal coming in. Thunder Lord's procs as well very early on. I want to see if Kasing wants to go for it.
But if you want to play Thresh into Niels, somebody's already good at sidestepping hooks. If he dashes out of a hook and returns the damage, if you don't land, and I've actually laned against Miffy and Sven when they played Kindred, what he does is when you play an aggressive Thresh lane, he will try to aggressively flash the hook on the all-in. When he knows he will win the trade, he'll just trade the hook for flash. Suddenly you're standing still as Thresh, and you get all in, especially if Alistar comes out with a potential knock up there. So that's a very interesting lane 2v2. So much outplay, depending if you actually have the guts to flash aggressively.
I want to see if Kasing has the same information here that Crepo has from that 2v2.
Well, he's also a better player than me, you know, he may just land his skill shots.
We'll see. It is a little bit weird, though, when you pick Kindred and Elise together, because you don't really hide anything. Kindred, in this case, because people know Sven plays it in solo queue, would be like, okay, that's AD carry Kindred. And I think Vitality is saying exactly the same. So you're kind of just showing your AD carry.
They do value, they just probably value the picks so high that they think, because Vitality could hide more picks by locking in a jungler, right? So if it goes to Vitality, Elise is off the board, they're definitely going to pick Kindred because they want to hide their picks in return. So then Origen's going to lose to Kindred. Maybe they just like the matchup too.
Possibly liking the matchup. Again, sustain is very strong for Kindred. Can't get all in. We're going to have to see if it happens. Alistar is there to protect her now. Double heal basically in this 2v2 lane for Origen. I need to see from Vitality side if this is Graves top or jungle. Because I wouldn't be surprised to see a Lee Sin pick for Shook. Because against Kindred, she's so focused around having her ulti to save her. Lee Sin can just kick her out of it, and you just kill her instantly, and she's dead in these fights. And that's a lot of what she offers in team fights, outside of just pure damage.
Yeah, kick into hook is actually a really good gank combo where Kindred can't even get the ulti off. Because if she does it at the start, she gets kicked out of it, and you can chain CC her to the point where she's bursted.
So let's find out what Vitality decide. On the side of Origen, they've also got to opt into another probably high damage mid laner for PoE, currently relying entirely on Sven. And who will Vitality run the risk of being countered? They have to pick a safe mid laner here.
Yeah, we talked about the potential Lee Sin. Just give us Lee Sin, not in Italy. We don't want to see that.
Please.
Current meta, it is super annoying on blue side to blind pick your mid laner, because I don't think there is any super safe one.
I think LeBlanc is the blind pick laner you kind of want to go for.
Sure.
Ari to an extent, she has barely any losing matchups.
She has LeBlanc though.
She has LeBlanc as a losing matchup, but it's still
PoE.
Somewhat of a skill matchup, and PoE is not really, doesn't strike me as a LeBlanc player.
It is his chance though to take it.
He has to.
And take that skill matchup. Against LeBlanc, you can be like maybe Zed coming in, but again, it's all skill matchups with these assassins.
But look, you're playing against no tanks, you're LeBlanc.
You can one-shot everything.
You get to push early, you roam top, you have a Shen that you can gank for. You get to push early, you roam bot, you have a Kalista Alistar that you can get. And worst case, if you lose a duel, you have Shen ulti.
Yeah, Origen didn't hide anything in his pick and ban phase. We knew it was Kindred AD carry. Shen was locked in with Alistar, so we know Shen top lane as well. It's just about that last pick mid lane.
Watch him lock in Orianna, by the way. And tilt us Oblivion.
Syndra's in his kit as well. Maybe
you also need
long range.
You need some strong damage
wide
in the mid game here, because Vitality has such a strong early to mid game. Ahri, Graves, Kalista. That one could work. That is also a skill matchup, but
too low mobility.
A good Syndra player though can time that stun with the Ahri dash, and then you can one-shot her.
Yeah, true.
So this is obviously a tried and tested pick for Power of Evil. However, it's still the same picks he's kind of cycling through that we saw last year.
I like the safety both Shen and Kindred give her in the later stages of the game though, because Syndra does have the risk of getting exposed, but maybe at least one of them can save her long enough to actually get the combo off. But I would have liked to see a LeBlanc.
Question is, which Shook will show up today? Because Shook has been very hit or miss on his Lee Sin performances. If he plays like he did yesterday, controlled, calculated, hitting his skill shots, Origen could be in trouble.
We can look at both these comps here. And no matter how Shook plays, this should be a super explosive mid game. I mean, because none of these comps are saying, oh, let's just scale to late game and get 5 dragons and then do nothing. Like, Graves top is going to be super aggressive in lane against Shen with low wave clear, push that in 24/7. Big skill matchup in mid lane with a lot of kill pressure. Early game junglers, we got everything.
So we have everything. We need to see which of these teams will lay it out on the Rift. Coaches walking off as the players load onto the Rift. You've seen the team comps. It's now time to load up for our game of the week.
Woo! Woo! I love that he's playing.
The curtain call comes down, and Rocket bring this one home.
Losses don't matter, like as long as you make it into playoffs.
Vitality take away the only answer Fnatic had.
Every single one of these players in this team can be really, really good.
As long as we have good games and we try to improve, I don't think there will be a problem.
They brought in Power of Evil, but I think it's very similar to Expected. Like the skill upgrade isn't that much, if any at all.
We just want to be a team that is up for contention for playoffs and is going to exceed when the time comes.
And let's find out who's going to pick up another win here in week 2. Vitality and Origen and Deficio. We talked a lot about the mid game, but we may have a level 1.
Yep.
Gentlemen, these guys are going to go toe-to-toe. Death sentence. Kasing winds up and he finds Soaz. Pulls him forward. There's a dash back. That was a taunt. Soaz has managed to make it out alive. Exhaust has been used. Orb of Deception will ring true on Mithy as Origen go away. Hyonin flashes for first blood at 53 seconds.
Whoa.
Shook's not done yet. He resonating strikes through the jungle. And now Vitality are invading.
We said it was going to be explosive. Level 1, both teams had the same thing in mind. They want to invade into the jungle, get a few deep wards. Vitality wins the battle. They get the wards in. The war is not over yet, though.
And they get their first blood 19 minutes earlier than yesterday. Already a win on the books.
There's no waiting here. We're gonna get fights.
Thank goodness. You guys jump on Twitter. Tell us who you think's gonna win. Will Vitality with their first blood, hashtag VIT
It's kind
win?
of cheating now, isn't it?
Oh, well.
Yeah. Changes the matchup entirely. Kasing starts hooked, but does get kill experience. There's another longsword on the Kalista, and healers burn on Sven already, so Miffy losing both summoners, so losing
What about the
window.
rest? PoE no flash, Soaz no flash.
It's really rough.
Options for Shook.
Origin lost way more than just that kill. Their initial lane, some lanes have spikes where you can actually outplay and then kill the enemy when you flash aggressively. They've lost a lot of that potential in at least mid lane and bot lane.
I wonder if we're going to see Shook with a very early mid lane gank. Because you can even just flash Charm level 2 from Ari, and then that's a kill. With Red Buff Lee saying, like, that's a kill 100% on Power of Evil. We gotta see how that lane is pushing, though. Power of Evil, if he's trading with Q, he will always deal damage to the minions. Unless Nuclear, of course, is standing so far away from them. Right now, it is slowly pushing towards Power of Evil, so this is exactly where he wants the lane to be, because now he doesn't have to overextend to get any CS. So he wants to sit so far back and just keep it there.
Both bot lanes did seem to get experience on the camps. Maybe the junglers even like give him a super leash with Smite. Elise can definitely do that. Smite Gromp and still get the blue. Because that's a very early level 2 zone. Keystone Mastery is coming out here. Bound the stone on Thresh.
And we see
really
Mithy.
peculiar.
Mithy again with Windspeaker. After the change in 6.1, where it gives armor and MR when you heal people around you, and 10% stronger heal as well.
Look at Sven.
Oh, there's the connection. Sven not going to play aggressive this time round. A lot of stacks from Hyonin to Ren. Sven's going to use Kindred's kit to try and sustain up.
But we do see the difference on this patch. Previous patch, that would have been double Thunderlord's proc right now, and Sven would almost have to base at this point. But because we're playing more for late game, further battle with the Bound the Stone there on Kasing, takes a lot less damage than he could have. Especially considering he's down on heal. If Hyonin read that in the fight, goes aggressive, there's no way Sven can even consider trading.
And let's talk a little bit about some of the other lanes, because we have Graves top. Obviously, it's something we've seen quite a lot in LCK. We've seen it in Challenger in Europe. It was played yesterday by Capochard. The way you play Graves top is you close your eyes and then you just spam auto attacks on the minions.
Yep.
And you will automatically push that lane over and over. Look at the top lane here. Capochard has been at the Tower of Swords all the time. You need your jungler to secure early Rift Scuttler. That's what Shook has done in the river. And then you just get a few early wards to make sure Capochard is safe, and he can just auto push and chip away on that tower.
Yeah, and all you need is 8 ping and good reaction speed, so you don't actually get taunted under the tower and your gap goes out with E. And yeah, 3 tower.
You make it sound so easy. Mithy's got himself a pulverize. The repel in from Amazing. Kasing will slowly get burned down. Teleport started and cancelled by Caboshot. I think Soaz may have taunted him. Sven continues to look forward. Dance of Arrows will be up in just a moment. That's a kill back for Origen onto Kasing.
So Origen, after that level 1, had Sven pick Kasing as his target, no flash on the support. Obviously the easiest one to gank, because if you go for the Kalista, the Lancer just comes in and saves her. So smart gank from Amazing. Good early start for him. Yeah, he needs it.
And it obviously was a cancel by Soaz in the top lane. We just rewatched it on the second screen here. So it's literally just walked up. Kabushard wasn't even in the brush to get that TP off. It is okay to teleport to just buy some time, but then you need to tell your teammates that you will get cancelled and they need to run. Because there was just a moment of hesitation there.
Well, Shook is now coming to help out Hyanin. Sonic Wave connects. There's some damage onto Mithy. Shook is
in the minions
actually
though.
The one that's in trouble. And wow! Wolf
what we're talking about. He's in a full minion wave, so all those bolts arrive at the same time as that Wolf. Goodbye, jungler.
And now Kabushard needs to back away from top, because his jungler just showed on the bottom side. So that perma push he's doing, that's too risky. You can see him recalling now as well, and Amazing instantly is showing himself on top side, because he knows, okay, there was a ganking chance on Kabushard. And constantly when you play these perma-pushing lanes, you always need vision control, and your jungler cannot make mistakes. This, in my opinion, is so unnecessary for Shook. There's almost nothing good he can gain from this.
Yeah, he's just poking, but look. Come on, that's... that even...
I've never seen him doing that much damage.
I wonder if that's even, like...
So
should happen.
Gentlemen, the numbers here. 80 plus 25. 5% of the target's max health on that third proc in conjunction with Wolf's Frenzy. In conjunction with Dance of Arrows, so...
I know, we need to put Freak on the case to run that math, but yeah, that was pretty disgusting.
I've never seen that much damage from a level 480 carry.
Well, good
but
thing
I tell you,
for
man,
Origen.
Imagine if he actually does that and he flashes your hook aggressively to free shield.
Yeah, you're right.
That's how you end up in Diamond 1.
Doctors hate him, that's just it, man.
After Shook has donated the kill to Sven, he's now got a 6-minute BF sword in conjunction with his Doran's and Longsword. As if Hyanin's and Kasing's life wasn't already difficult, Sven's going to have all the sustain and protection from Mithy and from his own kit.
And what was supposed to be at least from Vitality a lane where they could play somewhat aggressive in the 2v2 and try and set up a kill aggressive summoner from Kasing as well for the laning phase. Because of the level 1 where they used the summoners and then the early gank from Amazing, everything has kind of gone wrong with that 2v2, and Origen is in full control on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, they were also just slightly late to lane. I think their camp was started like a couple of seconds later, which means they were a little later to lane. Maybe have missed a couple of melee creeps. Suddenly Origen was pushing them early game, and it all trickles down from that.
Which is a very interesting thing with how minions are spawning earlier. So when you are invading into the enemy jungle at level 1, it's hard to get to lane in time and not miss anything if you're on the opposite side of the map. At first, Amazing can invade in. This is purely because you are controlling the bottom side. Mid lane right now has been fairly even, but it's pushed. Then you can start invading into the enemy jungle, and Soaz and Kabushard trading. Graves has a ton of burst. You don't expect it. Well, you do expect it because it's Graves, but be careful when you take these trades.
You should expect it.
Cocoon finds Nuke Duck, the stun follow-up into the cleanse. Now it's Amazing in trouble. He does have a Raptor to jump over the wall to, but summon a spell down.
Always leave an emergency Raptor up.
Same thing again, though. You have control on 2 lanes. You have 2 pushing lanes. That's how you play this meta. And you just start invading into enemy jungle. Early side stone for Mithy. Then you can go for these dives, and you can also escape because you know that backup is ready.
Yeah, what this does is it chunks Nuke Duck a little bit. He's back up to full health right now. But it sets up for Power of Evil to potentially poke and then flash engage, because Nuke Duck only has flash. If he's not ready to pull that trigger, maybe he can get one combo by Power of Evil if Power of Evil gets the poke off beforehand.
Take a look at the middle lane. Power of Evil does have flash available, may need to call it into question. Shook does not have his rage available, and the ultimate from Power of Evil unleashes onto Shook. No kill yet.
And in fact, Nuke Duck had no ulti because it was used before. Just saved Power of Evil's life right here in this gang. So
greedy positioning though from PoE. Should never be in between the minions right there.
I still think the whole early plan from Vitality got ruined quite a lot. Again, the fact they couldn't go at least even in the 2v2, because normally with Graves, you want to play around him with your jungler, because that's your winning lane in the early game. But Kabushard had to like just kind of sit on his own, and he had to now stop perma-pushing, because Shook would win bottom lane and so on.
Yeah, it's almost reminiscent of the Renekton era, where Renekton would lock in Ignite, win every single matchup possible, push up, and then as the wave masses up, that's when you just put your jungler there and you win that dive every single time. Worst case, you just deny experience. That's what you can do with the Graves top in the very early levels. But Shook was needed elsewhere.
And we have double pink ward now on top side of the map from Origen. So Kabushard is always thinking, oh, is there a jungler coming? Because Source is going aggressive. They can clear out this pink ward down in the bush now that Source is pushing. Amazing is showing himself. And that is a very easy kill. Taunt into Cocoon, and Graves is dead.
No worries, wants to set it up. Still not going to clear out that pink just yet.
Amazing was spotted.
Ward just faded.
Yep. Well, gets revealed, leaves some debris behind. But Amazing and Shook, similar areas of the map. This week more than last week. Amazing's in mostly the right place at the right time. Was positioning up towards the top lane a few moments ago as Power of Evil is now under a little bit of pressure.
And Origen is just waiting for Mythi to hit level 6 at the moment, and you have an unkillable bottom lane. Kindred ulti, Alistar ulti. Once you have that, and you have Source with double TP and a way stronger teleport than a Graves, you just set up a dive on the bottom lane against Kalista or Thresh. Super simple play for Origen, because right now, they're technically in control in every single lane. Even Source, who's behind, has been more than fine the last few minutes. So Vitality is nowhere they're winning at the moment.
Yep.
If they help Cabochard, he can take that lead back, but then Origen makes a play on bottom side.
Also, Mythi can just choose to roam. If you look, compare the item builds on the support side now, because Sing went for the upgrade on the Targons. So he's on a tier 2 relic shield. Yes, then that's him more gold in the early laning phase, but it just puts you so far down. You don't have a Sightstone, which is even more valuable because the super limited amount of wards that are available to you.
Yeah,
you get those for free really early. You can get deep vision. You basically force Thresh to be in lane.
We talked about this play here. Origen could set up. Amazing is here. Vitality pinged it before. It's a very obvious, it's a textbook play, so they obviously know this can happen. They might do something mid though.
Let's take a look. The charm didn't connect, and Power of Evil's pinned against the wall. Stand United will save Power of Evil's life. And now Shook and Nukeduck, they're inside Origen's jungle. Shook will flash away from the taunt and dash away from the stun. But he may, well, he'll find some support from Cabo, and Nukeduck makes it out, but the dive fails.
Yeah, and more importantly, it drew both Mythi and Amazing away from bot lane. They could have actually just went for that play and traded plays all across the map, but they felt that they could capitalize on that and get Nukeduck, but Shook distracted long enough and got away there. So even though they kind of screwed up the dive, they did make it out alive, and they saved their bot lane from the additional pressure.
Yeah, that's what I really like, is when there's a textbook play, it almost becomes predictable in a way. So if you do something they don't expect, like random, or not randomly, obviously there was a reason because Power Weaver had no flash, you dive mid lane. So you suddenly force the play from OG instead of letting them be proactive. Because League of Legends, it's all about being proactive. Because if you're the ones making the play first, you force your team to react, and you often have the control.
Yep.
So I really like that play from Vitality, and we can see Cabochard got a lot of free farm and free hits on tower because Source left the lane.
Well, no towers have fallen yet, 12 minutes into the game. We've seen some fairly early towers over the last week and a half. Even on gold, only 1 kill advantage here to Origen. And some big items already picked up. Blader and King versus Essence Reaver for the AD carries. Abyssal versus Athenes for your mid laners. I'm talking about the mid laners. Nukeduck, he's going to find a bull with some horns. Mythi flashes from the orb, maybe anticipating the charm. Nukeduck will land the charm onto Amazing, but it's a 3v1. And that is an easy kill for Origen.
Yeah, really good setup, really good cooldown tracking overall. They knew he didn't have the flash. Ulti was just barely available because it's up right now. It must have been still on cooldown. And just good synergy right there. Even through the cleanse, just gets blown up.
So who is next? Death Sentence? Will not find anybody. What goes up must come down. Amazing gets flayed backwards. 3 members of Vitality looking for blood. Cocoon finds Kasing, and Soaz will teleport in. Amazing goes down to Shook in a jungle-on-jungle action.
They're all really
and
low.
Soaz has been chunked out. Hyonin is looking for some kills. The Fate's Call will knock Power of Evil up. But here comes Sven. He's lopped over the wall. Dance of Arrows forward. It's 1 kill for PoE, another for Sven. Now Soaz is going to connect to the taunt. Shook's in trouble. He's dancing around the Scuttle Crab as all of Origen are collapsing on him. A flash forward for the final.
Yeah, miscommunication on the side of Vitality. Thought they were winning the fight, but they forgot about Sven coming into that fight, and more importantly, they forgot that Cabochard did not have teleport available.
All he gets for his team right now is the top tower. He was slowly chipping it down anyway, and this is what you can do when you have Shen. The double TP from one champion is often so impactful in the early to mid game. So he's able to join his team here, while normally the both top laners would be stuck up there. And OG, therefore, they can take the fight.
So look, Power of Evil's already heading to the fight.
Nukeduck is dead, obviously.
Yeah, Nukeduck's dead right now, but Vitality is winning the fight. Teleport comes in, and this is where they want to disengage, but they just think they can win the fight because Shook makes a good play, but they really forget about Zen coming in. Right now, Cabochard, that was pushing the top lane. Yeah, Overstate is welcome, and he's going down too.
Yeah, gonna get run down. Caught between a Ninja And a Spider Woman. And it's amazing that gets the kill credit.
Yeah, we've been there, done that.
And it just breaks the momentum. It allows SOAS to push out.
But that's such a sloppy mistake.
Yes?
Your entire team just died on the bottom side of the map, and
Right.
obviously you can't keep pushing. Crepo, aren't you disappointed?
Are you surprised though?
I am used to disappointment in the European LCS. No.
Wow.
Oof.
You can leave.
Stay salty, Crepo. Look at the pressure from Vitality. Shook had moved down to this bottom half of the map. We'll put some pressure onto the tower, and they've scared Origen away.
See what happens though. Yanan gets engaged on.
He does. There's a lantern to pull him out to safety though. Sven, he's going to continue to chase forward. Blade of the Ruin King will keep Yanan alive and safe. And running through the river, rather, aren't the rest of Origen.
But again, with all these plays we saw in the early game where mid lane went wrong for Vitality, with Nukdog getting ganked first, then he died later on. Bot lane as well with Sven getting all the early kills. It just resulted in Origen having at least 2 lanes winning from the start, and it's made it very difficult for Vitality to make any aggressive plays.
Yep. And now in the mid game too, instead of chipping away a couple bits of damage in that top lane tower, you were talking about this earlier, offcast too, SOAS decided to leave the lane. He took over the mid lane. That allowed both Amazing and Power of Evil to roam into the bot for support, which allowed then in turn the bot lane to play more aggressive. So it's a rippling effect. You start into the top lane, you have a wave pushing, you use that as a pressure point, then you move your top lane to the mid lane, that's a pressure point, and then you can really outnumber people in the bot lane for an additional pressure point, and that really forces mistakes on the side of Vitality.
Yeah, especially also now that tier 1 towers are going down. Once you get to the tier 2 ones, getting that jungle vision is just so important for almost everything you do. It allows you again to set up the play, spot what is happening. Suddenly you can go for Baron and Dragon. So instead of getting like 1 or 2 hits on towers and then run away, it's better to just push your wave in and then go into that jungle. Set up that vision, deny the vision, and create a big play instead that gives you the full tower, instead of slowly having to chip it down 10-15 times.
And with Origen making the tower plays and map plays, they've got themselves a comfortable
Vitality's
2,000
gonna
gold
die
lead.
again.
Vitality are not respecting the map, but take a look at the middle. Power of Evil's going to be in trouble while Kasing and Hyanan are running for their lives. There's no teleport from Cabo Shard. The target will be Hyanan on the back line. Power of Evil was killed by Shook, but so is Hyanan in reply. Kasing tried to get out. The exhaust comes down, looking for a pulverize. Mythy will pin him against the wall. The cocoon lands, and Sven will pick up a double kill, 5-0-2. Will Vitality at least be able to get a tower? Depends how effectively SOAS can wave clear.
So I just want to go big picture super quick. The way Vitality wants to play with Graves is you want him to push the top wave into tier 2 tower and then roam him to mid lane. And he takes down the mid tower. That's supposed to be the play. So Kasing and Yanan has nothing to do on the bottom side of the map, pushing up to a tier 1 tower. They should just leave that lane, go in towards mid lane, support the rest of the team because your AD carry is joining from top side, and you just take a free tower. Instead, it results in Origen getting 2 kills bot side, another tower, where honestly Vitality had the spike with more of a Mortis and a level 11 Graves.
Yep, definitely so. What Origen did well in terms of pushing a lane and then leaving it to assist the other lanes, Vitality kind of failed to do so. They didn't have the oversight, they did not respect the Fog of War. Let's see what happened in the mid lane. It was actually avoidable. Shook comes in, kick flash into Charm. Yeah, beautiful play here by Nukdog and Shook. And this is what should have happened on that initial dive in the mid lane earlier. Shook does drop though.
And this play, just think of it as if they had Yanan and Kasing moving in as well. Because it's a long lane OG had to push in the bottom lane anyway, so you would force them mid to defend. And that's what you wanted to do also with moving down the Graves. Instead though, more kills to Origen, a few for Vitality.
Yeah, we see Origen switching because part 1's done. Bot side of the map is done. They're now switching to the top side of the map in terms of vision control. They isolate that top lane tower. Cabo Shard is cut out. Bring the Shen in.
There is nothing for Cabo to do. He's being chased away from his side of the map. The rest of Vitality are pushing down in the bottom lane, but this should go to Sven. Another kill. 6-0-2. Outer turrets available for Origen, more gold versus an inner turret down bottom. So Vitality at least trying to keep some map pressure even.
Yeah, this play right now is uneven. Obviously, tier 2 is better than tier 1. The kill kind of equals out. But what they also get on Origen's side is like a complete vision control over the blue area. And we are approaching the 20-minute mark. If they can use that vision to get more vision later on, they can isolate the Baron. And then they can start baiting that later on.
And you keep building up your AD carry. 5 stacks now. Sven, we're 19 minutes into the game. I mean, get 7-8 stacks towards late game and you will be very, very strong. Obviously also around these objectives like Baron. So Origen put a lot of value on that play. Vitality gets something in return. Again, but they are still behind because OG has just been getting a little bit more on almost every single play.
Yeah, with a Shen in the bot lane too that can build relatively tanky. He doesn't care how long that lane is because he has multiple ways to enter the fight. He has 2 teleports available, so losing that tier 2 tower in the bottom lane isn't the biggest issue as long as Graves will never siege down that base tower.
And the problem that's going to happen now towards the late game, for Cabochard especially, is the fact that he wants to keep sitting in that side lane and pushing it to maximize his farm. But again, he only has 1 global. And a Graves TP is not really that scary. Like, if he TPs in behind you, you just stun him and kill him, basically. He's gonna have to build like Steric's Gauge and so on with more Mortis and be like a bruiser type, which is a good build on Graves. But he's flanking compared to Source joining in constantly with Form. This is not going to be the same effect. Vitality wants to keep pushing on towers and creating picks. It is very difficult once you start on losing lanes, and therefore the map control is not in your favor.
Yeah, Cabochard just ultied as well, so any all-in potential that he would maybe have in trade exchange with Soas is gone too. Soas can comfortably push in pressure in the bot lane, so we may actually see another play setup. The only limiting factor right now is Nukeduck. He's still strong enough to threaten Sven in the 1v1.
I think that's important when you note there's only really 2 sources of damage on the side of Origen. If Sven or PoE do go down, that can be an opportunity for Vitality to get themselves back in.
Yes and no. Usually, yes, but the Vitality lineup doesn't have a true tank. That's something you have to take into account when you look at damages at one side. Shen's base damages combined with Elise and Alistar is still enough to take down one of these squishies.
So basically what Vitality is looking to do now is they want to get in the jungle of Origen. They want to clear out a few of the wards here, so they need to just spam pink wards, honestly. Every single member, once you go back, you need to buy a pink ward.
Yep.
Do that in solo queue as well. They're cheaper, and they will win you the games. Get the pink wards now, get control around one of the sides of Origen jungle, and create picks. They're trying for one here. Sadly, they kick Amazing the wrong way.
Yeah, Amazing gets kicked to safety, but Mithy, he gets hooked by a death sentence. Hyonin is left for dead, forced to flash in front of his team. Soas finds the Shadow Dash towards, and that will be Hyonin tickets. He's down, and Origen will have complete control of his middle lane. 1 loss out to turret if they want it. Amazing goes up, will repel back down. Power of Evil scatters the weak, looks for the stun. Nukeduck does not find the charm, and he's forced to dash away. And the Sonic Wave snipe from Shook. Soaz is going to get a double taunt as Sven is dashing forward once more. Lamb's Respite keeps everyone alive. As long as you're in the ring, you're here to play. Flash defensively from Mithy, the man that started it all. Sven shut down. Team bonus goal for that monumental kill streak, and Vitality are right back in it.
Looked pretty bad in the start here for Vitality, losing Hyonin very early, but Nukeduck hadn't even joined the fight.
Yep.
Comes in with his ulti. I didn't even get to see if Power of Evil did anything.
He panic ultied with not too many spheres on the ground once he got engaged on, thinking he got his ulti off before he got dropped. All the way at the start of that play though, let's watch that again. I think the only way this makes sense is if Shook thinks he has flash available. So watch this, he's gonna go in, Q. I think he wants to kick flash here, but forgets that he has flash, or he just thought he was slightly behind Amazing. That's the only way that play makes sense. So he definitely did not want to kick him sideways. Slight misplay here. Good exhaust by Mithy, keeping Yard on lockdown. Watch Soaz right here with the taunt flash.
Yeah, good taunt flash. We also see the TP from Cabochard, how he can't really flank, so he has to join in where his team is, and he doesn't get to deal any damage just yet. Graves, you want to fight around these walls here where you can proc your end of the line.
Miscommunication. Heals. Sven is going top, while Amazing is running straight into mid lane. This is something we saw yesterday from Origen, and this is what ultimately loses them the fight.
It's not on any individual players other than as a team. Sven, the 7-1 Kindred, is the one walking away, and he also gets his ulti down a little bit too late. Source is already dead, and now it's actually only benefiting Vitality that ulti's there. And they can just clean up the fight. Good charm flash as well from Nukeduck in the end.
And that is worrisome, like mechanical misplays like there from Shook, that is just, that is gut feeling, you know? Either you think you're behind him or you think you have flash, that's fixable. But these communication issues that we've seen twice now this weekend from Origen, more of a worrying trend.
Look at those chunks from Sven onto Hyonin with the 6 stacks on his passive. 6 hunts completed, 7.5% damage. Look how quickly Soaz and Sven are already taken down without Amazing.
Why is Cabochard bot? Because they're revealing in the mid lane. We saw PoE and Alistar both reveal themselves on wards in the mid lane. Then we had a 2-man Baron. Amazing joins in just a little later, and Vitality this did not take into account the amount of damage a Kindred and an Elise due to Baron. It's a sloppy mistake.
Again, super sloppy. Almost no matter who they see where, running bot lane with no TP, even in a lane at the moment where the only inhibitor turret is left, so there's no threat of minions doing anything. You walk down against a Kindred. We're into the mid game where Baron can go down super quick. That is really, again, a macro mistake from Vitality that's costing them a lot. And honestly, the fact they won that last team fight now means almost nothing.
No, that advantage is completely gone. Also, they only have 1 blue trinket. While they've been fighting consistently for that Baron vision, they should have opted for more blue trinkets to not have to face check, because they were all afraid to face check, and they just didn't calculate in the fact that Kindred and Elise can 2-man Baron super easily.
So well into the mid game, and Origen have reclaimed control. So as with Stand United and Teleport, we'll be shoving out that bottom lane slowly but surely. Look at Sven solo up top, 1-3-1. Not your traditional 1-3-1, but with Baron buff and the current power with the map plays, Origen are sitting pretty.
Kindred is also one of the AD carries who can jump over a lot of these small walls. So when she is sitting in the side lanes, it's fairly easy for her to escape. Also on a low cooldown with the W down. And you always have Source as backup to buy time. Yep. The rest of your team is sitting in mid lane, so you can basically just yell at them and they will come and help you.
It's also way safer to go top first because it only gives you 1 exposed flank as opposed to 2. We're limited wards right now. If you're playing against a full skirmish kind of assassination comp that wants to hard engage with Charm Flash, with Lee Sin coming over a wall, Thresh being thrown in, it's a lot harder to defend in the mid lane.
We've just seen too many problems for Vitality in the early game to use that composition. We knew it was going to be explosive. There's been a lot of fights, a lot of small things happening left and right, a lot of good moves, kind of forcing the hand of the other team, surprising them a little bit as well. But there's been too many mistakes from Vitality as a team.
Mithy's gonna flash and he's done it! The Pulverize will actually knock Cabashot away and catch Kasing. Fate's Call pulled the trigger by Hyonin, and Kasing throws himself forward. Death Sentence doesn't find a target, but the Charm does. So as it's gonna flash away defensively.
Complete disengaging third dragon here for Origen. Could have been a good fight. Mithy over-eager and slightly hesitant on the combo. You saw him hesitate just a fraction of a second right there. Only gets Thresh up. It's a bit of a failed combo. A bit of over-eager too. I don't think he needed to make that play. If you just hold Flash from Alistar as a counter-engage tool, the amount of zone that provides in teamfights, especially considering going on a Thresh who has Fate's Call available.
I wonder if you just saw the Charm hit Sven and he was just like, I need to go in to try and stop them. I just want to see when he's jumping in. Because he's obviously sitting ready to do it. They're talking about he has a team, you know, can be Flash Torn or whatever. Where's the Charm? Comes in there, and then he goes in. So I'm not sure if he just wanted to make the play, or he was like, oh, my AD carry's in trouble. If I don't do it, he might die.
It would have been a good play if he gets Cabashard, actually. If he hits the combo on Cabo, it's an okay reactionary play. Sadly, he just messes up a combo a little bit. And this is Mithy, who used to land every single one, and it just shows you that the new altered Alistar WQ combo is just incredibly hard to consistently hit.
Yeah, gonna need a couple more games under their belt before they can land that one.
I'm sure that's the problem for Mithy.
It's a different experience, different missile speed.
It is.
The problem is that the... Hang on.
Well, Power of Evil has
a problem.
That's what I was about to say. The problem is that Power of Evil is about to get caught. Now, Vitality can now push.
How much can Vitality take? Amazing is starting to recall from the jungle, so as doing the same thing from the bottom lane. He does, of course, have Stand United if Mithy wants to engage. This is a 4-man defense from Origen. Soaz is late to the party. The inhibitor turret is fallen without any resistance, and Origen to make the call. Let it go. The inhibitor goes as well. Soaz, there's no flash, remember, and he dashes away. All of a sudden, now Vitality back in control.
That was such a big play from Vitality, and I wonder how Power of Evil ended up dying. He had flash ready.
Yep.
Not sure if he wasn't expecting Shook to kick Flash him back into Vitality.
Origen just said, do you want to build a throw, man? And then they let it go.
Power of Evil going to be wrecked after that play. Origen all of a sudden have to find some way to get back in control. They still maintain gold lead, but they have to deal with that exposed super minion lane. In fact, they're pushing it back. Best thing to do against supers, and it's not Vitality a little bit caught out of position.
We're still in the situation where Origen, all 5 members together, they have the strong front line. Alistar, Shen, tank Elise as well to buy time for the damage dealers to do work. So as long as Vitality doesn't flank on them and an instant kill Power of Evil or Sven, Origen still has a very, very strong 5-on-5 team fight that's been hard to deal with if you're on Vitality's side.
There's only one problem. No QSS just yet, I believe, on Sven. Once he gets that, he can actually comfortably start playing forward. We've seen this before. The way he plays, especially when they played a lot of these protect the AD carry compositions, he can play stupidly far forward once he has QSS, because the threat of Charm Flash is out of the window, and then only thing that matters is either smoke screen that removes your vision or a flying kick from the Lee Sin.
Obviously, it is only 2 damage dealers on the side of Origen, and he's gonna be the main one.
Yeah.
Syndra is the great burst, but her overall damage, when it comes full late game, it becomes harder and harder for her to one-shot someone.
Well, it's all on Sven right now. That's why it's still limited in terms of aggression. He has to be careful because Nuclear has been on point with a certain amount of charm flashes. PoE lurking in the shadows, though. Hyanan should respect this and not go any farther.
Hyanan's got that QSS as well as the Hurricane and Blade of the Ruined King. PoE finally decides to back away. Taking a look at some of the other items very quickly. Cabo's got that Sterix up and completed with the Ghost Blade and the Maw. Sven, all damage for the time being. Essence Reaver, Eye Edge, Rapid Fire Cannon. So the arms race continues to scale higher and higher, and Baron will be up in less than 1 minute. So some deep wards in Origen's jungle will help out Vitality, and that seems to be the objective for now.
Yeah, and again, because Power Weaver got caught in the mid lane, it now gave mid control to Vitality with the super minions pushing in. Origen had to back a bit further away. That opens up the river at the Baron for Vitality to move in, set up their pink wards and get the vision. So now they might be able to create a pick. If you get Amazing, if you get Power Weaver or Sven, you might be able to one-shot them. But it's going to be difficult.
The difference here is, though, that Origen have a lot of members that could actually risk a face check or like facilitate it. At least with Volatile Spiraling, Shen can technically go in there. He will take a lot of damage. Alistair can always face check. It'll cost them the ultimate. Whereas Vitality earlier, when they were scared of the Baron Vision, nobody can face check or come even close to brushes.
So Vision, even more important for Vitality then. This little pink ward, by the way, stayed alive for 10+ minutes. It's not the most optimal position, but teleport's available for both Cabochard and Soaz. Vitality, they're playing the bait game.
Again, keep in mind where Cabochard has to TP too. He needs to join his team. Soaz is the one who can play aggressive with teleports. He can go back to base, get home guards. Origen might even look to make an aggressive play, use TP and then do it again after. Amazing though, might be caught out.
He was, but he's flashed away. Cabo's teleported in. Scatter the Weak finds a stun, and Hyanan's knocked up. Nukeduck's trying to zone away Sven. Amazing will be the first one to fall this fight before Power of Evil follows. Sven puts down Lamb's Respite. He's staying alive, flashes and skips away. But that's a triple kill, I think, for Hyanan. He's going to close the team fight out, and Vitality, hands down, win.
One of the big things about the Graves pick, let's see Soaz. Again, he's just delaying the recall. Because Vitality, they're going to finish.
They're going to finish the game. This game is over.
This game might be done. Vitality have grouped up as 4 in the middle lane. There's nobody but Shook to tank up for now. They'll swap the Nexus turret aggro. 30 seconds before any damage dealers are on the Rift. And Vitality strike down Origen to pick up the win.
Well, Soaz is coming, but...
Oh, it's not done yet. Soaz gets a taunt. He's going to try and interrupt them. They've stopped killing the Nexus, but it will only be for show. And finally, Vitality close it out.
So we talked briefly about this earlier, but one of the things about Graves is you can build these bruiser items like Maw and Sterix Gauge and so on. Like, they surprise people because you think you're bursting him down as an AD carry, and then double shield is proccing for magic damage and everything, and he becomes pretty tanky suddenly.
And it only takes him like 2 seconds to unleash his full combo.
Exactly. And Power of Evil in that last fight, he fired everything on him. They caught him out technically, but he didn't go down. So even though they didn't have a pure tank on the side of Vitality, he took enough damage, and then suddenly it was only Sven left, and that wasn't enough. Vitality would clean up the fight. And man, those items, they are so strong in the current meta, and why some of these burst mages tend to struggle towards the late game.
Such great sportsmanship there to Seeker Singh, giving Sven a hug at the end of the game. But you have to go back to that pivotal mistake from Power of Evil, getting caught in the mid lane with Flash.
Yeah.
That exposed the inhibitor that gave Vitality the opportunity to come back in.
See, there's that one, but I think one of the more like blatant misplays, because that could be maybe lack of judgment, maybe lack of awareness, but communication for me trumps all of that. Where Origen is in the lead, they have a partial teamfight won, they have the opportunity to disengage. They AD carry with all the kills at that point, 5 kills, I believe, run to the top lane. And at that same time, we have aggressively moving in members in the mid lane right now. That is a big area in communication. By the time Sven actually arrives to the fight, not only does he arrive late, they keep fighting for no reason, and they all died right there. I think that was the biggest misplay from Origen, but good job for aggressive team fights, and honestly, some really nice openings from the side of Vitality.
And I think if you step backwards, Vitality not on the same page. A number of times Cabochard was caught out, Singh as well as Hyanan overextended when they shouldn't have been in the mid game.
Yeah. I think we still see the fact that we are only in week 2. And a lot of these teams are still kind of seeing, you know, where can we take this? We need synergy, we need more communication, better macro game, and so on. That's normal in the start of the split, and we saw some of that in this game.
Yeah, but for Vitality, it's definitely excusable because you have different members from different teams that come in and they have to mix play patterns, mix how they react to different situations. But if you look at Origen, they should be able to build on what was already existing and like kind of plug and play Power of Evil in it. And that's the biggest difference for me. I think Vitality has more excuses for their plays than what Origen is bringing to the table.
It is just so normal, though, for teams after they think they just want to fight because they picked up a kill to be like, all right, I need to get some farm. I'm the AD carry, man. I'm going to go top. And the rest of the team is like, oh, wait, we might be able to fight more. And then the AD carry is already gone. Those problems, they happen. But again, they can cost you games.
And in theory, they should be fixable. Because this is one of those very, very clear mistakes. You can go
like
back,
relationship advice. Talking helps.
Exactly.
Talk to your partner.
Figure out exactly what to go wrong, what went wrong. But you know, I think we step back and you look at it. Vitality now 3-1, Origen now 1-3. And for the Vitality players, I know personally, I wondered how consistently the guys were going to show up, how they were going to mesh these different play styles and these different personalities on the Rift. And now that we've seen a 3-game back-to-back victory streak for Vitality, it's starting to show some of that ceiling and how high they can reach.
I want to see more from Vitality in terms of, again, we talk about this, the strategy, the macro play.
Yep.
But I think a comp like this, so many squishies, but so many carries. When you have really gifted players like they do in every single role, these kind of comps here, they can really do well. But we just need to see less mistakes, honestly, as a team.
This is something I'd like to see H2K play.
Well, we'll have to find out if they get a chance later on in the split. For now, we're going to head to Pyra on stage to take a look at Vitality's come-from-behind win.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. I am, in fact, joined by the man in the top lane for Vitality. It is cabochard. Congratulations on your win. But I got to ask you, we saw two very different Vitalities this week. Yesterday, your game started out very slow, ended very slow, very methodically, and very conservatively. What was so different today that you guys wanted to take that crazy level 1 all the way to the end?
Yeah, they were pretty different. Yesterday we had the issue that we were very fast at the start of the lane swap, but we slowed down around the tier 1 bot, and then it made us just stall like for a very long time, and then we didn't control Nashor around 20 minutes. So we played really slow. We could have done like 5 drakes, and it wasn't very optimal from us. And today we just played like better, I guess. Even if we did some mistakes fighting when we didn't need to and such, we played much more properly.
You definitely seem to indeed. I also want to ask you about your choice in the top lane. Graves, we've been seeing him in the jungle. We're now seeing him up top in a couple of regions. What makes him so strong, in your opinion?
I think early game is probably like the best 1v1 you can get pressure-wise. Like he can just wave clear anything. In lane swap is really good because you can dive, wave clear, push like pretty much everything you need. And people will like underestimate how tanky you are with those items. Like you get a lot of tankiness with your E. And like we saw last fight, they tried to engage on me, but at the end, you get super tanky and then the Sterak pops in and you can actually fight pretty easy as a tank. And then the damage just like super good, so he's a top tier pick in my opinion.
All right, I'm convinced. I'm going to go play him in solo queue tonight. Last question for you, though. I want to know about this whole term that's been floating around your team. Everyone's saying you're the new European super team. Does that add pressure to you, or does that actually something that you don't worry about at all?
I don't really think like we think about it actually. We just like play the game and like we care about the opponents because we're gonna study them and such, but at the end we just wanna play our best game and we don't really think about that.
So far so good, 3 wins in a row. Congratulations once again, cabochard. For now though, we are gonna send it back to the analyst desk to break down that victory.
Thank you very much, Pyra and cabochard. Super team or no super team, 3-1 here after 2 weeks in European LCS for Vitality. Let's take a look at their picks and bans versus OG. As said already, that Graves top is something that Fischio and you guys also talked about so much, an important pick. What else did we make of this draft? A lot of aggression inherently, in any case, from Vitality. A change with yesterday.
Yeah, and the weird thing about that is when you look at the rest of the draft, it was still the Graves top, it was still the Kalista, the Lee Sin jungle. Like everything seemed the same, but the pace seemed different. And I think a lot of that was that Kasing on Thresh was on Morgana yesterday, is so much more active, looking for the hooks. I mean, that was evident in the first blood, just looking for that setup of the first hook. So I think maybe that's one of those driving voices that the team has that extra aggression on. I'd love to actually get Kasing's feelings about that, just about whether that is a playstyle difference for him when it comes to the aggressive style.
Yeah, very interesting to see. But with all that and getting the first blood, it still didn't go as planned for Vitality. They actually got behind somewhat 3,200 gold at 26 minutes in that game versus OG. Of course, we had Kindred absolutely going off. And even with that, Vitality managed to get back in the game. And we're going to show a couple of replays to show how that happened, because they pushed a button basically to get back in the game. Or is it OG that faltered in their decision making?
It's a bit of both, honestly. We can roll this replay, but this is just one of the situations where Origen just don't quite get the better of a trade, and this highlights bigger issues with Origen. Even being in a massive situation of having this massive advantage, Vitality still took them apart on a decision-making basis. And that's ultimately what led Origen to their downfall.
Yeah, at this point, this is a fight that Cabochard wasn't even in the beginning. He actually recalled and then TP'd in. From here, Nukeduck is constantly looking for these picks, and this is one of the things that helped Vitality get back into the game. Power of Evil landed a fair amount of stuns in this game, but the problem with Syndra in this kind of situation is when everybody's coming at you from all different angles, very tough to land the key stuns. And you can see from this, Nukeduck is just utilizing his mobility right to the top of his game, getting right through the fight, in at a different angle, flashing forward for another charm. Really good stuff.
The other problem with this team fight is, as that one opened up, Sven decided to go top lane because he saw the farm and wanted to set up a map play, and actually just abandoned his team. So the fight was actually 4v5 for a large part of it, despite Cabochard joining it late as well.
Yeah, and from this, in came an extra bit of engage onto, I believe it was Amazing as he was trying to clear the ward to start this one out. From here, Sven can only do so much, even forced to get out of his ultimate because the damage is a little too late, and Hjarnen's just able to clean up in that kind of fight. It's just very easy to utilize being the hops around the wall, up and around the fight. Again, all about the mobility in these team fights.
Yeah, super impressive as well from the side of Vitality, because now we've seen last week, a fast game. We saw a very slow game yesterday, and then we saw here a game where they want to go fast, but they get forced into going a little slower and coming back into the game, and they still show the decision making. That has actually quite impressed me.
Yeah, it's fairly impressive when you look at always looking for those picks, even while on the back foot, kiting backwards, looking for any kind of opportunity. So I think that's one thing we need to watch out for from Vitality, is that you can seemingly not count them out. That's always a nice trait to have, but I like to see Vitality making the proactive plays at the beginning of the game. I think that really is the biggest difference day to day for me.
They displayed a lot. The proactivity in the early game, also the ability to come back from behind. We've seen teams like the Unicorns of Love who fall behind but are a very tempo-based team, so when they're ahead, everything falls into place, versus Vitality, if it doesn't fall into place, still have a game plan and something to fall back to.
Yeah, very nice to see. I know a lot of you guys, of course, are thinking about that interaction between Kindred and Lee Sin at the beginning of the game, and League Ops is looking into that, but with all that, Vitality still managed to come back in the game. We're only one game in, but there's plenty more coming your way with Elements versus Giants in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, because the European LCS continues right after this.
Coaches walking off as the players load onto the Rift. It's now time to load up for our game of the week. Orb of Deception will ring true on Mithy as Origen go away. Hjarnen flashes for first blood. Looks for the stun. Nukeduck does not find the charm, and he's forced to dash away. And the Sonic Wave snipe.
I can charm flash Kindred. Okay.
Q1. Nice. Amazingly, the first one to fall this fight before Power of Evil follows. Sven puts down Lamstra's fight. He's staying alive, flashes and skips away. And Vitality strike down Origen to pick up the win.